Welcome to qnawire.
Our question says that it wants us to determine the vector a minus c given the vectors a and the vector c in figure 38 in your textbook. So if you look at figure 38 in your textbook, you can find the magnitude of vector a and vector c as well as the angle of vector a and vector c. And I wrote down what we were given here then from that figure 38, where the magnitude of a is equal to 44 and the magnitude of c is equal to 31. The angle of A is given to be 28 degrees. The angle of C is along the negative y direction. So that's 270 degrees, right? Okay, so now the question is what's A minus C? The vector A minus C. Okay, so we need to determine what the AX component is and the CX component, as well as the AY and CY components in order to be able to add those components together to get, or I'm sorry, subtract those components from one another in order to get the vector of A minus C. Okay, so first let's determine AX. AX, the formula for that is the magnitude of A, right? Multiplied by the cosine, since we're dealing with the x direction, of the angle, theta A, the angle of the A, theta, relative to x. Okay, so this comes out to be, if you 44 times cosine of 28 gives us 38.85. Okay, but we also want to do the same thing for AY. So if we do that for AY, we again have the magnitude of A, but this time it's being multiplied by the sine of the angle, since it's in the y direction, sine of theta A. So we have 44 times sine of 28.0. This comes out to be 20.66. 20.66. Okay, now we want to do the same thing for CX and CY so we can subtract the like components from one another. So we have the magnitude of C multiplied by the cosine of theta C. Well, the cosine of 270 degrees is 0. And that makes sense because the CX is along the y-axis, and there's no x component then. So this is just 0. Now, CY is equal to the magnitude of C times the sine of theta C. Well, the sine of 270 is just minus 1. So this ends up being the minus the magnitude of C, or minus 31. And that makes sense because all of the C vector is in the minus y direction. So we expect the CY component to just be minus the magnitude, which is minus 31. So now, if we want to get A minus C, in order to do this, we need to take, this is equal to A minus C for the x components, plus A minus C for the y components. Okay. Well, the x components would be 38 for A sub x, 0.85. And then it's going to be minus a c sub x, which is 0. So it's just going to be 38.85. And that's in the x direction, which is denoted as I hat. Okay. Plus AY minus CY. So AY is 20.66 minus CY, which is minus 31. So this is minus 31. Okay. And all of this is in the y direction, or also commonly written as j hat direction. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this out completely. We still have 38.85. Hi-hat. Plus 20.66 minus 31 is 20.66 plus 31. So that's 51.66. And this is j-hat direction. Okay, and we'll box that in because that's our solution for the vector A minus C.